Hey guys, it's Bro You Whack, and I get countless comments, tweets, and messages saying, "Oh, Bro You Whack, I can't climb because of my teammates. How do I get out of silver? How do I get out of gold? My team sucks." I'm not even kidding. That's how some of y'all sound, but I understand because I know it sucks to be stuck in elo hell, feeling like your teammates are holding you back, feeling like they're the reason why you can't climb. But to continue watching this video, I need y'all to understand, every single one of you that want to climb, I need y'all to recognize that there is something that you can do to not only improve yourself, but how you could possibly be holding yourself back. And if you make up excuses, if you make up reasons why you can't climb, but always use teammates as the scapegoat, then this video will not be for you. You have to be open-minded. You have to realize that what you're doing probably isn't working. So maybe just take some of my advice and maybe it'll help you climb, maybe just by 25 SR or maybe by 25,000 SR. I doubt it, but maybe this can help some of y'all. All right, so we're on the same page. We recognize that there is something that we can do to help improve ourselves where we don't have to rely on teammates. Now, what's the secret, Bro You Whack? What's the way that I can get to top 500 and how I can get out of this silver scrub rank? Well, first of all, there's no secret that I haven't been talking about before. A lot of these I've already mentioned, but I really just wanted you to know the secrets that I've been doing so that you can also mimic it. And the first thing that I want to tell you that you can instantly make yourself better right this second is going to be a big change, but it's something that will be very helpful both on console and PC, but it's going to be remapping your buttons or rebounding your keys. If you main a hero that is super button intensive, which I don't even think that's a real phrase, but what I mean by that is, say you main someone like Lucio, more than likely you're going to be doing a bunch of actions at the same time if you want to have the most effectiveness with Lucio. More than likely you're going to be jumping, wall riding, switching between songs, and shooting your gun all at the same time, which means more phalanges, more of your fingers are going to be required of you to be pressing buttons. And if you can have your controller or keyboard to be able to have those buttons at the ready at any given time for you to perform those actions, then you're going to be a much more efficient Lucio, or really anybody. Genji is another popular one. Heck, even Hanzo. You just want to be able to have your fingers at the ready for those actions. Now, I understand that's going to be weird because maybe you're used to the button layout, maybe you've been used to default for the longest time, and I'm here to tell you that's fine, but you are factually at a disadvantage. It takes more time for your right thumb to press the A button or the X button on your controller than say if you were to have it on the left trigger. That's how I have it. You don't have to do it, but my finger is always going to be on the left trigger because that's how I hold the controller, which means my right thumb doesn't always have to go back and forth. I'm not wasting any time doing that action, which is an important action for Lucio or anybody for that matter, which is why I'm going to be a much more efficient Lucio. The only reason why this is going to be a bad tip is that it's going to be weird at first because you're so used to your old ways. Get rid of your old ways, move on to the new ways. And if you want a bunch of ideas of how you can remap your buttons, I have a whole entire series where I go over a bunch of button remapping for specific heroes. Now, the second thing that can make you instantly better in Overwatch might be a little bit controversial, but just hear me out because I at least have my arguments for this topic. But the second thing is to have a higher sensitivity on console, but to have a lower sensitivity on PC. Again, I want to make this video for all platforms, even though I mainly play on console. I want everyone to be included. First, let me explain why you should have a higher sensitivity on console, because there's some people that will argue saying, well, I don't need a higher sensitivity to win games, and that's fine. Why are you watching a video on how to win more games? But if you're losing games and you're arguing with me saying, well, I don't need a higher sensitivity, then okay, either skip ahead or continue to lose, because clearly that's working for you. But the reason why you should have a higher sensitivity is based on a pure fact. You can do more actions or at least spin around faster with a higher sensitivity because you are quite limited on console based on the 100-100 sensitivity ratio and also the mold of the controller. There is plastic blocking your stick, so it's literally limiting you. A higher sensitivity Tracer or Genji is going to be able to have a lot more actions per minute. It's a fact. Like, I'm not going to argue that because if you're able to spin around faster, you can. Now, you can argue that it's hard to control, and that's fine. You don't have to have 100-100, but you want to have something bigger than a 30-15 default sensitivity. Like, that's disgusting. And the reason why you want to have a lower sensitivity on PC is the opposite of console, and that is there is nothing limiting you other than the size of your mouse pad. So if you're able to have a lower DPI or lower sensitivity, that means you're going to be able to aim with your arm more and have a lot more area of space to have a lot more precision shots. Now for our third tip that can instantly make you better at Overwatch is something that I kind of want to stray away from because it could involve money, and most of my tips I like to have either free tips or very simple and easy to implement tips, but this is something that in this modern day age of gaming, you need to have. If not, you're going to be at a huge disadvantage. But the third thing that can make you instantly better is to have headphones while playing. I think it's pretty self-explanatory as to why you want to have all the Overwatch sounds within your eardrums, but is it for that immersion? No, not really. It's to be able to hear key phrases or key sounds within the game so that it can help you decide what you do next. This is most important for footsteps. This is most important for Reaper teleportations, or for when key abilities are used, such as a Roadhog hook, or maybe when an ultimate is used and you are dead in the spawn. If you're able to hear that very faint grab sound, then you as Zenyatta know that you can be aggressive with your ultimate, because you do not need to use your ultimate as a defending ult, because you know, okay, Zarya grabbed, I heard that, now we can be aggressive. Or even just a simpler example as to why you need to hear game sounds is that if a Reaper teleports behind you, where is he coming from? If you're using your TV speakers, you do not know. I promise you, you do not know if it's going to be on the left side or on the right side. Listen to this.
Repositioning.
Did he come from the right side or on the left side? Where if you're listening on your phone and not with headphones, you wouldn't know. But if you have your headphones plugged in, you would know that it was on the right side. That's why it's so important to have that instantaneous reaction to what's happening within the game. It's much more than just footsteps. It's much more than just ult tracking. It's also just being able to give key information to your team, which is the fourth step that can make you instantly better in Overwatch, which is talking with your team. I know social anxiety is a thing. I know you probably don't want to talk with your team, and this is going to be a caveat tip. At least listen to your team. At least go into game chat. At least be a part of their plan, because if you do not want to talk, that's fine. You better follow the shot caller. You better follow the person that is making the plan. If you do not want to talk, if you're scared of these strangers, that is completely okay. But what is not okay is going into your Discord and expecting your teammates to know your plan, because nobody knows your freaking plan, dog. If everyone is on the same page for when Sombra is getting ready to use their ultimate, or if Genji is on the same page with their Zarya, the flow is going to be much more seamless because everybody's on the same freaking page. You have a lot of friction when three plans are being executed because nobody has the same exact plan. You see in all these professional sports, and even in professional Overwatch, everybody's talking. So if you want to be like top 500 players, why don't you play like top 500 players and at least listen? I mean, some of the DPS players in the Overwatch League don't even say a word, but they listen to their support player. And if you say, well, nobody goes into game chat, then you be the first one to go into game chat and at least talk to the one and only person in there. And the last and final thing that can make you instantly better in Overwatch, and I guarantee it will make you better even after the first day, you might just not see it, is to practice your aim. Whether you're a GM player, a bronze player, or you think you're the greatest plat player of all time and you think you do not need to practice your aim, you need to drop your ego and realize that your skills need to be sharpened, because just like in professional football or baseball or professional CSGO and Overwatch, all the pros are practicing the fundamentals. The fundamentals of Overwatch is straight up aiming. Aaron Rodgers, arguably one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. Do you think he practices aiming with the football? The answer is yes. I don't know his routine, but I know it's a fundamental because I understand with pro sports or sports in general that you need to do that. Same thing with Overwatch League players. They're constantly going into the training range or constantly going into some training method and practicing their aiming with McCree, Genji, or even Merce. I don't freaking care. So how can you practice your aiming? Well, I like the standard practice on a bot training method. I've been saying this for 3 years. I'm going to say it again. This is how I practice my aiming. I know there's tons of good training methods in the workshop that I'm sure could help you out, but for me personally, I just use the same training method I've been using for the past 3 years. Aim for on heads. They don't shoot at me, but I shoot at them. I'm limited to that tiny little head, and it'll not only make me better at McCree, but just make me better at hit scans and just make me better at aiming, and that could really be used for any kind of hero. And that's why I like that training method, is that I'm limiting myself to the headshot. I'm training to aim for the head, and that's how I get better aim. I don't have the greatest aim, but I have a lot more better aim than 3 years ago. Why? Because I continued to practice my aiming. And those are 5 things that can make you instantly better at Overwatch. And I'll be honest, some of these things will still make you instantly better, but over time you'll start to see the results. Like with the on-bot training method, you will still be better on day 1, but you'll see the results after after a couple of months. With the headset, whether you're plugging in headphones into your controller or you have like the $5,000 headset, it doesn't matter. If you can hear footsteps, if you can hear abilities or ultimates, it will make you a better player because you can decide what to do in that moment. And that's why I want to have a wide range of tips for you to choose from, because if you're complaining about your teammates and you're stuck in plats, I guarantee you, you're not doing every single one of these things. There at least is one thing that you could be doing. And if you're doing all these things and you truly mean it, then just keep on grinding, keep on practicing, because if you're still like a 1-star border, you're still learning the game of Overwatch and it takes time. And that's what happened with me. That's what happened with a lot of these pro players, and that's what will happen with you. So I love you guys. Thank you guys for watching. More Overwatch videos to come, and bye.